I want to tell you a story. This story to me is an incredible story because I know the person in the story very well. And he called me yesterday to tell me his own personal account. So the story we're telling you is very real. This man was well off for many years. 6 or 7 years ago, his business had to dissolve, and he had to start working for other people. Before you knew it, he was really tight financially. I mean really tight. A member of our community lives right here on our blocks. Really tight. I mean tight. And we would talk often, and he would tell me, Rabbi, I don't know how I'm going to make it through the month. Child got married. I don't know how I'm going to pay for the wedding. I don't know how I'm going to even get to the Swanny. Really, really struggling for years. But through the whole process, I watched his commitment just grow and grow and grow. His commitment to prayer, the way he prayed, the way he learned Torah. It was just so strong. And so he told me this story. He says, Rabbi, on the Thursday after Purim, that's the day that school started to close. He said, I was talking to my boss and we were negotiating, and finally he agreed, whatever, it was just to work it out, that he owes me $20,000. On that Thursday, I brought home a check for $20,000. He says, when I got home, my wife, who also obviously has been on this journey together with him, with a lot of back and forth and debating, should we spend on this, not on this, says, when we get that check for $20,000, we're going to pay up all of our charity bills. $5,000 worth of charity bills. He says he came home with that check. They were so excited. Saturday night, they sat down. That was the last Shabbat that we've had shul. He sat down, he and his wife, and they didn't want to pay the charity just through the internet. They wanted to do it to its fullest. And he's writing out the checks with the pen, and she's got a pen, he's got a pen, they got their checkbook, they're putting it in the envelopes, they're putting the stamps, the return address. Each one, they're writing check after check after check. A total of $5,200. And then they paid their bills, also other bills. Sunday, he tells me, he says, Rabbi, on that Sunday, I put all the checks, all the envelopes into the mailbox, and I sent them to all the charities that I owed. I was so excited to do so. He says, Monday I went to the office, and we started to realize what was happening in the world. And some people were laid off, others were furloughed, and my salary, which was already tight, was cut by 25%. He says, I came home that night to my wife, and I'm wondering what she's going to say. She says to me, the only thing I feel bad about, the only thing I regret, is that we gave so much money to the mortgage. Not one word of regret of giving a quarter of the money that they just got away to charity. Not one word of regret. Not one. Most people take their money and they're hiding it for some rainy day or some rainy Corona day. And they, as it's starting, no regret. They're tight as can be. They finally got some money. Not a word. That's a Kiddush Hashem. How beautiful is that story? How much, that's someone who's dedicated and committed to our values and ideals. But there's a little more to the story. He says he had a communication with someone. He had, I believe it was a customer who really wanted to buy masks, but he couldn't really get it done. He had a friend of his who was in production, and that friend was trying, also couldn't get it done. He called a friend, he says, yeah, I couldn't do it. He tells his friend, he says, if you ever can, I happen to have a good lead that could help you out a lot. Long story short, the friend ended up connecting with that lead. And 2 days ago, this man that I'm talking about received a check for $200,000. $200,000. And he called me up, and of course it was hard to reach. Finally, I answered the phone, and he's crying on the phone. He says, Rabbi, let me tell you the story. And he's telling me the story, how he paid up old debts and family members and maybe some money that he had spent on a bar mitzvah or other occasions. But that's a Kiddush Hashem. Someone who's willing to live by their values even when they don't know the result. I told them the beauty of the story is not the $200,000 at the end, The beauty of the story is that you and your wife, in the middle of this whole thing, when you were cut even more, had the conviction and the commitment and the mesirut nefesh to say, we're doing what's right. Am Kiddush Hashem.